Welcome back, everybody. I hope you're all excellent. Today on 5-Minute Tones, we're going to use the Fractal FM3 and we're going to build a high-gain rock rig using only 4 blocks. One big critique of modelers is that you can do so much stuff that you can get option paralysis. So let's be really creative with 4 blocks. And this is more or less going to recreate the preset that I use live, but using far fewer blocks, which is going to use a wah, an amp, a cab, and the mighty multi-tap delay. The amp, of course, is one of my favorite guitar tone generators of all time across a spectrum of gear, the USA 2C++. The cabinet I'm using is a cabinet IR that I made of a Marshall 4x12 cab with vintage 30s. As you can see, low cut at 80, high cut at 10K. I've used the steepest filter slopes. We've got a multi-tap delay and a wah in there. Now, with the wah, I've automatically gone in and I have set the control. I've right-clicked it, set it to pedal number 1. I've set the off value to 95%, and I've set the auto-engage speed to a medium speed. So the wah's on. All I've done is bring the maximum frequency down to 1500. Not too much to write home about there. Now, with this Mark Series model, what I like to do is turn the overdrive up, turn the bass down, turn the mids down. This is exactly what I would do with a real Mark Series amp. I recently did an in-depth video with the Mark IV and pretty much did this stuff, and it worked. I like to turn the presence down, and I like to turn the master volume down, say to about 3.5 to keep things tight. Now, at the moment, okayest guitar tone ever. We got to add some sculpt. So we got to put some meat on this thing. So boost a bit of the lowest frequency, pull out some of these frequencies here to get rid of the boom, and add a bit of mid-range here. Now we're in the chunk zone. That is pretty cool. Now, the FM3 has 3 foot switches, so on each layout you have access. In this example, I've got 3 scenes, but there's also something called views, so I can access more scenes by going to a different view on my virtual 12-button controller. But for the purpose of this video, we are just going to stick to these 3 scenes here, but keep in mind, what do you mean there's only 3 foot switches? Views gives you so many more options. Okay, so scene 1, I want to have as this is kind of like straight up rhythm scene that we've got here. That's fine. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use this. I'm going to copy scene 1 to scene 2, and I'm going to copy it to scene 3 so that everything kind of stays the same. Now, let's just leave that as it is. That's a cool high gain rhythm guitar sound. Let's go to scene 2. What I want to do here is I would actually like a kind of edge style rhythmic delay. And I'm looking at the time knowing that I'm going to go over 5 minutes here, but let's just keep going. So I want the mix at 50%. And what I want to do here is one delay is going to be a quarter note, the other is going to be a dotted eighth note. With this quad tap delay, I've got 4 delays. So I'm going to turn the other 2 off. Very, very straightforward. And with this, I'll set the feedback on the dotted eighth. A dotted eighth delay is only 75% of the speed of a quarter note delay, so I need to compensate by turning the feedback up so they kind of peter out at the same time. This is what we get. And that's synced to the tempo, so if I go for a faster tempo, beautiful. If you go and have a listen to the Ragdoll song, The World You Gave Us, I basically use all these sounds in that particular song. That's the reference point here. Now, I would probably bring the high cut down, say, to about 3K, which seems extreme, but I like my delays to kind of sound like old school analog delays. That's pretty cool. Let's go to the solo scene now. I want to do some tricks with this. So if you've seen some of my Axe FX 3 videos, you know I love this thing with the quad tap delay. Because we have 4 delays on there, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to copy channel A of my multi-tap delay to channel B. I'm going to engage it, and I'm going to turn the mix down to start with. So at the moment, I've still got that quarter note, dotted eighth note thing. That's pretty sweet, but with the other 2 lines, let's set those to be really short delay times, and we can add chorus to the delay line. So we go 3 milliseconds, 4 milliseconds. Not super creative, I know, but I'm just going to add a bit of chorus to each of those. Now we have this. But of course we don't because the levels aren't up. When I turn the levels up, now we have chorus. That's pretty rad, right? I would like way more gain on this scene though. I can do it a couple of different ways, but the way I'm going to do it is we have this built-in preamp boost. So let's set that to be Tube Screamer, T808. Let's turn the boost level all the way up. And now I want this to turn on and off automatically when I change scenes. So I'm going to use something called a control switch. Let's right-click that. We will bring up control switch number 1. And in the controllers menu, if I go control switch by scene, I'll set all of them off. But on scene 3, I want this guy on. So watch this. If I'm on my amp and I go to scene 2, the boost isn't on. But when I go to scene 3, it is. And it sounds glorious. As I say so many times when I'm using Fractal gear, that totally puts me in my happy place. If I wanted to, I could have a 4th scene, you know, the same kind of sound, and I could make a really swirly sound out of this multi-tap delay on channel C. All of these blocks have 4 channels, so if I wanted, I could, you know, dial up a clean amp and use that for a particular scene. I could bring up a different cabinet. I could have 4 different options here. So when you look at this, I mean, as a just without using the controllers like the control switch or anything to turn stuff on and off, you know, 4 by 4 by 4 by 4. That's a lot of options. And again, you're probably going, oh no, option paralysis. So don't worry too much about that. As you can see, I created a nice rhythmic delay with the multi-tap delay block. I created a kind of chorus with delay on there as well. I could also add some diffusion to this and smear those repeats out and get like a faux reverb on there. Hear how that kind of washes together? I could keep going on and on about this, but if you would like to see me do more 5-minute tones videos using only 4 blocks and say build like a blues rig or a classic rock rig or an ambient rig, please let me know, because it's a great way to, you know, utilize the power of the FM3, not just the blocks themselves, but things like controllers and scenes and views and all the extra stuff that I think gets overlooked because most people go, what do the amps sound like? And what are the effects? And how many options do I have? How much power do I have to put as many blocks as I like? When really, you can be so much more creative with only 4 or 5 blocks and using the amazing modifiers and controllers section in there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We went way over 5 minutes, but you know, 5 minutes, that's just a guideline. Thanks for watching the video. I will see you next time.